Fear. It's a problem when it affects a producer's ability to prospect. Fear of rejection isn't uncommon for producers, and in fact, for any type of salesperson. There aren't a lot of people who wake up in the morning and think, oh boy, I can't wait to hit the phones this morning. Can you fix that fear and anxiety? If you're a producer or you want to be a producer, I think you have to. I don't think that subbing out prospecting is realistic for nabbing those big accounts you want. So how do you do it? I think it comes down to training. It might even mean some therapy to overcome the mental blockages that anxiety can cause some people. I'm not an expert, but here are my observations. Fear, anxiety, panic, whatever you want to call it, is a mental head game that's preventing good, smart producers from accelerating their careers. The solution will be different for everyone, but I think it starts with perspective and recognition. First, you've got to recognize that this is a problem for you. Then you need to gain some perspective around how you want to deal with it. I think it's also important at this point to say that if you don't deal with it, you're not going to be in this game for long. Failing to prospect is probably the number one reason producers wash out of the insurance business and any other sales business. Let's face it, most of the fear around calling is based on irrational thoughts. You are conditioning yourself to believe that if you make calls, it will result in the worst possible outcomes. Someone may yell at you. They may even smash the phone down and tell you to never call again. They could even call your boss and say how annoying you are. Sounds silly, right? Well, because it is. These things really don't happen, and if they ever do, it's really nothing to be worried about. Look, most prospects are reasonable, and the good news is that you've got hundreds of potential people to call, so move on. But I get it. Making that first call is nearly impossible for those of us, including myself, who are panic-stricken by the idea of calling strangers. This is where training comes into play. The right training will help you recognize that prospecting is a game. It's a game of large numbers. It's a game that understands the perspective to find one or two good leads. You may need to dial the phone 50 or 100 times. Training will teach you that you need structure, you need good questions, and you need dialogue, and you need to practice. Anxiety and fear are our own responses to a stimulus, so we need to understand why that happens and how we're going to overcome it. A lot of this will fix itself if you become mentally tough, which I think is an attribute that more producers need to focus time on. Mental toughness usually goes hand in hand with physical toughness or grit. I have focused on building my grit for several years now, and I've really enjoyed the experiences of being uncomfortable. Uncomfortable doing endurance training, Spartan obstacle course races, long multi-day treks in the backcountry of 50 or 75 miles at a time, and daily CrossFit training. These types of things build grit and toughness for both the physical and mental parts of our being. Fear can be an expert at wearing you down. You need to counterbalance that with what fits you. I'm not saying you need to be a crazy person like David Goggins, but you need to get the physical, mental, and spiritual training to beat fear and anxiety at their own game. Here's the bottom line. To be really good at anything, you've got to train and practice. That's true in business, in athletics, in sciences, in medicine, and really any occupation you can think of. The best of any field didn't get there by chance. They got there through continuous learning and training. If you're not getting ongoing training and encouragement that you need in your agency, brokerage, or company, then you've got to make some decisions. A, you stick it out and you take responsibility for building your own grit, tenacity, and your ability. Or B, you find an environment that helps you with ongoing training and encouragement. There's a reason the failure rate is so high in insurance sales. Insurance companies and brokerages big and small want to find that self-made diamond without spending a lot of time and resources on polishing salespeople to be their best. For the top 3 or 4% that make it, they are the diamonds. For the remaining 96%, about half are probably diamonds in the rough that with some good training and support will be highly successful over the long term. The other half were probably never tested and never found out that an insurance sales career didn't suit their personality. It's not for everyone, but that's okay. While your agency may need more training resources, the buck stops and starts with you. That may mean investing in your own training, but it certainly means you've got to commit. You've got to schedule time in your calendar every day for prospecting, regardless of how painful it is. You've got to make it happen. There's no benefit in blaming anyone or your agency for you not being a success. It starts and stops with you. So the question is, what are you going to do to overcome fear, anxiety, and hesitancy around prospecting? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Post them in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe. That lets me know I should continue to make content like this in this producer series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.